Nice, the tank auto named Rowdy. That footage shows Weimar Republic troops parading through the streets of Munich after putting down the communist Spartacist uprising in Bavaria in 1929. The footage fits in nicely to today's subject by adding historical context. This is a beautiful example of a propaganda leaflet that was produced by the British in the spring of 1941 and dropped from planes over enemy lines. Unusual about this flyer is its complexity, providing plenty of information which tries to appeal to the reader's reason rather than trigger a direct emotional response like fear or anger. We'll dissect the content of this leaflet, and I'll talk about how effective it might have been, using more film material and photos as evidence to support my theory. Finally, I'll give some more information about a video-on-demand platform that's being worked on that I'm really excited about. If you like the way I use primary sources in the productions, please remember to like this video. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. You won't be sorry, I promise. So let's take a look at this. The Führer's thoughts about the Waffen SS. This text explains that the secret document that's shown below was recovered by British soldiers in Libya from the staff of the German 2nd Battery of the Artillery Regiment Nr. 75 in March of 1941. It explains the origins of the document is as follows. On August 6, 1940, Hitler ordered that the Leibstandarte Adolf Hitler, which had started out as his personal bodyguard unit, would be reorganized. At the same time, he redefined the future task that the Waffen SS would be responsible for. An overview of his intentions in the form of this document was distributed to generals and lieutenant generals on September 11th of 1940 and marked as top secret. A half year later, in March of 1941, the document would be given to all the Wehrmacht officers, however still marked as secret. Let's take a look at the other side of the leaflet. It talks about the important points in the captured document and explains how it should be understood. In addition, I'll add my own thoughts, which obviously have the advantage of hindsight. If you interpret things differently, please let me know in the comment section. I'd love to get a discussion going. You are looking at 1940 footage of the SS Totenkopf operating in the Arras region in France. The secret document contains Hitler's thoughts about the necessity of the Waffen SS. The leaflet states that, for the first time, Hitler's true war aims are clear. He isn't fighting for the defense of Germany, but rather for the creation of a new German empire. The responsibility of the Waffen SS in the new German Empire, according to Hitler, is fighting a national war within the new empire. Question 1 in the leaflet asks, against whom should the Waffen SS be fighting within the new empire? Adolf Hitler states, the eventual borders of the new empire will not exclusively contain German populations with good intentions towards our authority. Therefore, it will be necessary for Germany to maintain a national security police force that is capable of representing and defending Germany's authority beyond its natural borders. Such an organization will proudly remain clean by never fraternizing with the proletariat or subversive intellectuals. Leaflet's answer to question 1. The Waffen SS will be active against the occupied populations of Europe, specifically all European workers, including those of German nationality. The sleight of hand made by the leaflet is translating the political term used in the document, proletariat, to workers, which has a different political, specifically communist, association. In so doing, it looks back to the pre-1933 Weimar Republic, when right-wing organizations and the communist KDP were fighting for the future of Germany. It's fair to say that the struggle between left and right at this time was a fight to the death. Here we are looking at an election poster from 1932. The communist propaganda associated the Nazis with fat cat industrialists, claiming the presence of widespread corruption. This AIZ magazine illustration from 1932 was created by famous photomontage artist John Hartfield and shows the supposed true meaning of the Hitler salute. It says that the little man asks for large contributions. Here another John Hartfield illustration shows the industrialist Thyssen. The caption reads, "Not a tool in the hand of God, but rather a toy in the hand of Thyssen." Another popular association was that of the church and its relationship to the Nazis. This one shows a German bishop organizing Christians as legions for the Nazis. He cleverly says to one of the priests, "Hey you there, farther to the right." John Hartfield was a tremendously talented propaganda artist who directly influenced the most famous Russian propaganda artist, Alexander Zhytomyrsky. If you're interested in seeing presentations of his work, look in my video library. Exactly 4 weeks after coming to power, the Reichstag burned and the communists were blamed. This incident was used as a pretext for the freezing of civil liberties that had been guaranteed during the democratic Weimar Republic and the official elimination of political opponents. This is footage from the so-called Day in Potsdam, which was celebrated 3 weeks after the burning of the Reichstag, which represents the marriage between Hindenburg, as head of the old Junker military class, and the new NSDAP government. The film has a runtime of 24 minutes and 20 seconds. A promise was made by Hitler to Hindenburg, who you see here, that he would bring an end to the seemingly endless elections. With its members incarcerated in newly set up concentration camps, the Communist Party in Germany disappeared. An important reason the Nazis won out over the Communists is because they had been willing to cooperate with, at least temporarily, and incorporate the Junker military class, the industrialists, the church, and even Weimar Republic politicians. The Communists, on the other hand, believed uncompromisingly in the so-called dictatorship of the proletariat, and had been all but completely wiped out. Moderate Germans who had supported the liberal Weimar democracy were much more numerous and wouldn't have identified with the proletariat working class. The leaflet goes on to show this text, written by Hitler in the captured document. It reads, "Never again can regular Wehrmacht soldiers be put into critical situations where they could be asked to raise their weapons against German nationals within the Reich." Question 2 and its answer in the leaflet are, why doesn't Hitler want regular German soldiers to be active within the Reich? Because he can't be sure that they will be willing to shoot German nationals. This assertion seems more coherent. It lets the reader know that not only is the use of force against German nationals within the Reich possible, but that it is actively being prepared for. Also, that it would be the Waffen SS and not regular Wehrmacht soldiers that would be asked to do this. Which brings us back to that wonderful footage of the 1919 Spartacist uprising in which 100,000 citizens took part. Although the attempt by the communist leaders to get soldiers to support the revolt had been largely unsuccessful, the Weimar government had to ask for the help of Freikorps formations, which were right-wing paramilitary units, to help put down the revolution. Hitler realized that the regular soldiers' loyalties were nuanced. During his own unsuccessful 1923 beer hall putsch in Munich, there was considerable support from the military, with the popular General Erich Ludendorff even marching beside him. This is a picture of the defendants in front of the Kriegsmarine school, where the trial took place in 1924. Ludendorff is standing to Hitler's right, and Ernst Röhm, the leader of the SA, to his left. The leaflet goes on to ask and then states, who has abandoned the German population to the Waffen SS? It's not only Hitler. The generals are complicit in handing over national security to the Waffen SS. In this way they have secured their individual positions of authority and assured that the army alone will be used in action against foreign enemies. The accuracy of this assertion is astounding. Here we are looking at an original book produced for the 5th NSDAP Party Congress of 1933, which took place from August 30th until September 3rd. The publisher was Julius Streicher, who also produced the rabidly anti-Semitic newspaper Der Stürmer. The etching to the left from 1513 is from the artist Albrecht Dürer and is titled Ritter, Tod and Teufel, or Night, Death, and the Devil. The Nazi interpretation of this work was the individual's absolute loyalty and ability to act without question for a cause is something noble. A little less than a year later, with the Röhm Purge, which eliminated by assassination Ernst Röhm and the rest of the SA leadership, the German military had in true Faustian fashion sold its soul to the devil. Since August 6th of 1940, when Hitler recalled the Waffen SS to Germany to take on the role of the national police, its ranks have increased tenfold in size, and it now operates completely independently from the Wehrmacht. The historical context here is fascinating. The leaflet was produced just before the German invasion of the Soviet Union, as Britain stood truly alone. Here's a map of Europe at the time. The author can only have expected the Germans to settle into ruling continental Europe in close cooperation with their ally, the Soviet Union. The idea that the Waffen SS would be needed as a fighting force outside their current borders was outlandish. Finishing up the leaflet, the reader is given a summary of the document's content. It states that Hitler can't deny the authenticity of this document. He remains simply dumbfounded. Hitler isn't waging a defensive war, but rather one of aggression. The Waffen SS have specifically been designated as his standing army, ready to act in the case of civil war. And finally, that the generals have accepted that Hitler has abandoned the German population to Himmler's henchmen. As I've mentioned before, work continues on a video-on-demand platform similar to what you see here that we hope to have operational around the beginning of 2022. The truth is, the film archive I have access to has literally thousands of titles, and many of them have never been released. Because of the policy related to World War II footage, much of the material can't be shown here. If you'd like to stay informed about the progress of this project, please sign up using the link at the top of this video's description. Thanks for watching.